Hello everybody from Arlo White in the Live Broadcast Studio, and welcome to highlights of another excellent day's golf on Super Saturday in Greenbrier. Now, Live Golf history was made by this man, the high flyers Brendan Steele. This is his second shot at the par 5 17th. In it goes, the first albatross in league history, and it's Brendan Steele who is all smiles. Cam Smith teed off at 18 today. He made a par there, then proceeded to card a 27 over the front 9 holes to briefly take the lead. This is his third at 12. An eagle for Cam there, but he was overall level par through his last 8 holes and his 3 off the lead. Brooks Koepka is seeking a 5th Live Golf title. No other man has more than 3. A pair of 64s for Brooks. He's 12 under par. That was his birdie putt at 18. But today was all about Jon Rahm, who is hunting a second straight win in the Live Golf League after his first victory at the JCB in the UK, and he's also hunting down Wako Neiman for the overall title of Live Golf League champion for 2024. A remarkable round of 62 today for Jon Rahm. That was his second into 17. This is his tee shot at 18. And you wouldn't bet against Jon Rahm going back-to-back and taking a lead into the final regular season event in Chicago in 3 weeks' time, seeking a first prize of $18 million. And he rounded things off superbly with a birdie putt at the first. An 8 under par 62 today. Jon Rahm will take a 2-stroke lead into Championship Sunday. Ripper lead the team comp by 1.
Let's do this thing level 2. This is SportsRage. I am Morency, the pistol players, the hustlers, the people, the bustler, and everybody else in between. Thanks to Joe Madden for joining us. So it's still scoreless right now at Dodger Stadium, the Mariners and the Dodgers. No runs on the board. Top of the 4th inning. Seattle do have a runner on first base right now, but there's 2 out. Stone pitching extremely well tonight. 54 pitches so far with already 2 out in the top of the 4th inning. We'll see who can break through and put a run on the board. San Francisco have broken through. San Francisco are now up 4-1 on the Chicago White Sox. Parlay players and favorite players, like the man that joins us right now, George Kurtz, is feeling better, I'm sure. 4-1 for San Francisco. It's 5-2 for San Diego right now over the Twins. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a 9.5 now there. San Diego are 20-1 on the money line. Minnesota are plus 950. White Sox are plus 950 as well. Identical numbers, actually. The one sort of upset, but it's not really that big of an upset because they really, the Tampa really weren't that big of favorites. And that's why I ended up not playing Oakland. But Oakland are up 3-0, George, right now, which isn't really fully surprising to me, actually. I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't play them, but I played the Twins instead because of the plus 150. I was like, plus 150 is enough to get me to put a little play on it. Should have taken Oakland up 3-0 right now, bottom of the 5th inning.
I thought about taking Oakland as well. I didn't take Tampa either. I'm on the over in this game, and that was 7.5. I thought, man, Bradley hasn't pitched all that well. Oakland can hit, and Tampa Bay will score a couple of runs, right? And right now I'm not getting the runs with Tampa Bay I need here. So the only play I have in this game is the over. I'm on the Padres team total over. All right, and the game over itself here. Once again, Minnesota was starting a pitcher I barely heard of. All right, so I figured once again, San Diego gets home.
He got hit early.
Colorado. Yeah, so no San Diego. I'm getting what I want there. Right, we're 5-2 here in the 5th from what I'm seeing. So all good. It's been a solid night here.
I bet on Minnesota too, a little bit out of fandom of the Dodgers because I wanted them to lose, Kurtz. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I wanted them to lose. And the game's on TV, too. I was clicking around. I'm like, I got the game on TV, and I want them to lose. And the Dodgers are playing on TV at the same time. I'm like, I'll take the Dodgers, and I'll bet against San Diego, but I'll put more on the Dodgers. Like, I wasn't dumb. I'm like, I don't want to ruin my Dodger play here. So I got the Dodgers. I also bet the under, George, in the Dodger game, which is looking pretty good so far, but got to break through and get a run here. Are you on the Dodgers?
No, I didn't touch the game itself, but I did take the under. All right. Seattle's just a blind under for me. I almost always take the under against Seattle, especially when you go up against Dodgers. It doesn't really matter who's pitching for the Dodgers. It'll be a decent pitcher here. Plus, I was surprised that Freeman's in the lineup with a hairline fracture in one of his fingers. I mean, that can't be good for him. So, let's get Seattle blind under here. But it's funny. I took the Mets tonight against Baltimore for the same reason you took the Dodgers, because, hey, they're playing Baltimore. Go Mets.
Yeah, you wanted them to lose. So you figure out how to jump in. And so you have a chance as well. This play wasn't my best play, though. And like I said, for whatever reason, I played the under of the game. So Houston came back and beat Boston, everybody. Got a 5-4 final score there. But, George, you got the result that you wanted as far as Baltimore. It's amazing, though, isn't it, how Baltimore and both the Yankees, they just remain even for weeks right now. And they both kind of lose. It's like no one wants to win a division type of deal almost.
I can't argue with that, right? They both played pretty
You know what I mean?
now. We're not talking a couple of days or a couple of weeks.
Like, George, look at the West. Look at, like, the Dodgers. Like, Arizona, San Diego, and L.A. are all like, win, right? It's like a battle. New York and Baltimore, it's like, yeah, we lost, but don't worry, so did they.
It's almost like they think this is September 19th, and the playoffs are going to start in 10 days. We got 40 games left. These teams are both struggling just to get down to the finals here. I guess it's a good thing that there's nobody else in that division. I know Boston's sort of there, where they're 7.5 back, but no one else there really challenged them. They're both struggling, and they both have the same problems. Not much depth in the rotation. The bullpen is just terrible, and they're not hitting like they were earlier in the season. You know me, Gabe, I thought Baltimore made a major mistake. Matter of fact, both teams letting Flaherty get to the Dodgers was a major snafu in my mind. That can't happen. But one of those teams should have snapped up on Flaherty. Baltimore could have gotten whoever they wanted. They could have gotten Snell if they wanted him. They have the farm system to do that. I thought Baltimore let a golden opportunity go by.
And you and I talked about it the more and more, and here we go. They just came back and won again, George. So we look at these teams in the East with the Yankees and the Orioles, and you guys know I've never really fully bought into the Orioles in the big picture yet. The Yankees, I have a hard time buying in that they can actually win multiple series and get to the World Series. We kind of dismissed the teams in the Central, which leads us to Houston. I hate to say it. It's going to be Houston. Like more, George, every passing day, it looks more and more like Houston. And now they got Verlander coming back. Right.
I think that'll be a big thing. If Verlander comes back Wednesday, and he is Verlander, I'd rather Baltimore win than Houston. That's how much I really dislike the Astros, everything that's gone on there. Of course, they've beaten the Yankees a number of times. So whether they cheat or not doesn't matter. They keep beating the Yankees. It's annoying here. But if Verlander comes back on Wednesday and he's Verlander, I don't know. I just don't know if either way you take it. They're playing the exact opposite of the Yankees and Baltimore, right? They're ascending.
Yeah, they're getting better.
While the Yankees and Warriors are descending. It's a problem right now.
I almost feel, George, L.A., Houston, we do it all over again for this stupid, like, trash can and everything stuff.
That'd be pretty wild.
Dodger fans haven't taken it as bad as Yankee fans have. We lost the World Series to them.
They did it first.
Yeah.
What's his name threw behind the
guy?
We did.
Joe Kelly. We took it bad at first, but I'm just saying, overall, seems like Yankee fans hang on a little bit more, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, if you go back in time there, you know who got screwed over the most was Yu Darvish. Because he ended up pitching in Houston, right? And he ended up losing like 3 of his starts type of deal, George. Like every time, and he was always on the road. And they didn't have the same advantage at Dodger Stadium. The numbers spoke for themselves. Kershaw talked about it. He goes, look, when I pitch at Dodger Stadium against them, whatever. And then he said, look at what happened in Houston. Right? Like they were aware of it, but hey, it is what it is. It would almost, I know it's not the same players and everything, but I'm starting to get the feeling, George, that we're going to get the rematch of this. The Dodgers and the Astros in the World Series.
It wouldn't shock me. Like I said, I think if I was to bet on the American, like the Dodgers, I think it's Dodgers of Philadelphia in the National League. So it's much easier for me. The American League, I mean, I think I would put Houston number 1 right now, which is just crazy in my mind. Because what you said about the Yankees is, the way I say the Yankees can beat anybody or they can lose to anybody. You just don't know what Yankee team's going to show up game in, game out. I don't know. You know, it's almost like a crapshoot here.
He can also pitch around Judge. Like other teams aren't as
why does
player
anybody
specific.
pitch the Judge?
Like
I would never pitch the Judge. Never.
Like, you got to, like with the Dodgers, you can't, all right, you want to walk Ohtani? Fine, bro. Betts is up next. You want to scare, you scared of Betts? Freeman's up next. Yankees, people just in the playoffs, I would just walk them every time, pretty much.
Getting no argument from me. I would never pitch the Judge. I don't know if I pitch the Soto. I put them both on base. Let Austin Wells or Stanton try and do something. They will every now and then, but they're not going to kill you. Like I said, it's just why teams pitch the Judge is amazing to me. I just find it hilarious. I'm also surprised the Yankees haven't tried to protect Judge a little bit by maybe switching things up and batting him first and Soto second. That protects Judge. Soto might get screwed then, but that's one way of going at it there. But that's cashing in the lineup that he's put out there, right? The Yankees have think about it, the New York Yankees have no first baseman and no third baseman. I mean, Ben Rice, who hasn't gotten a hit in a couple of weeks, is playing first. And third base, now Chisholm's gone again, who wasn't a third baseman anyway. He's gone. Now you got Cabrera and maybe this guy. Oh, maybe John Birdie's coming back. Oh, yay. That'll strike fear into the heart of the opponents.
One thing I will say, though, I look forward to this baseball tournament that'll be the playoffs, because the best teams aren't automatic in baseball, guys, right? Anything can happen in series. You get a hot team, starts winning low-scoring one-run games. And don't look now, George, but it looks like the Kansas City Royals are going to be in the playoffs, for real. Like, they're racking up the W's, man. They got a 3.5-game lead in the wild card coming into tonight.
Yeah. They're a fun team, right? Bobby Woods had a fantastic season. Good for the Royals for spending that money to sign them. Good. I don't think they'll go very far. I would rank them 7th on the 7 teams, but good for them.
You got to give this team credit. They've built it up and torn it down and built it up again a couple of times now.
Hello everybody from Arlo White in the Live Broadcast Studio, and welcome to highlights of another excellent day's golf on Super Saturday in Greenbrier. Now, Live Golf history was made by this man, the high flyers Brendan Steele. This is his second shot at the par 5 17th. In it goes, the first albatross in league history, and it's Brendan Steele who is all smiles. Cam Smith teed off at 18 today. He made a par there, then proceeded to card a 27 over the front 9 holes to briefly take the lead. This is his third at 12. An eagle for Cam there, but he was overall level par through his last 8 holes and his 3 off the lead. Brooks Koepka is seeking a 5th Live Golf title. No other man has more than 3. A pair of 64s for Brooks. He's 12 under par. That was his birdie putt at 18. But today was all about Jon Rahm, who is hunting a second straight win in the Live Golf League after his first victory at the JCB in the UK, and he's also hunting down Wako Niemann for the overall title of Live Golf League champion for 2024. A remarkable round of 62 today for Jon Rahm. That was his second into 17. This is his tee shot at 18. And you wouldn't bet against Jon Rahm going back-to-back and taking a lead into the final regular season event in Chicago in 3 weeks' time, seeking a first prize of $18 million. And he rounded things off superbly with a birdie putt at the first, an 8 under par 62 today. Jon Rahm will take a 2-stroke lead into Championship Sunday. Ripper lead the team comp by 1.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. We'll get back to the baseball. George Kurtz with us. But, George, kind of a busy day in the National Hockey League today, somewhat of a surprise. And with all this football talk going on, and rightfully so, college football in 5 days, NFL football 17 days away right now, is the NHL season. I saw the Vancouver Canucks tweet out earlier today, 51 days until their season opener. So I think we're like 50 days away now, George, from the start of the NHL, which really isn't that far off, to be honest, 50 days.
No,
With
it's
NFL
not,
football,
right?
before you know it, it'll be here, right? It'll be like week 4, week 5, or whatever. And
Training
the
camp's in a
season will be
couple of
starting.
weeks. They'll have training camp in a couple of weeks, right? We were on hockey today, so yeah, it's not that far away. I'm an Islanders fan, not really much for me to get excited about, but still, hockey in general it's great to have back.
So the Montreal Canadiens acquired Patrick Laine today from the Columbus Blue Jackets, a player with a lot of talent, right? I mean, he's a good sniper. He's a natural born goal scorer, but he's also had a lot of problems over the years. If you look at the amount of games that he's played, George, like in the last 5 years, he's played 68 games. That's the highest like he ever got to. There's like 55, 44, 18. I know there was a pandemic year in there. So let's say it's 4 years, but either be it injury, off-ice issues, and I said it earlier, I'm not making light of it, but if you have mental health issues playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm not sure the Montreal Canadiens are the best place for you, George. That place is a hotbed, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's fair. I know when talking to people who don't follow hockey, I always compare Montreal to the New York Yankees. All right, Montreal
Yes,
is
it's the same thing. You're playing in New York with like a hostile media.
Right, and that being said, I think this is a great move for the Canadiens. I mean, what's the negative here? If it doesn't
they
work
didn't give
out,
up anything barely,
fine.
right?
Right.
They hardly gave up anything.
Maybe a second pair defender. Maybe. Nobody you
Harris
can't
is
afford
all
to lose.
right.
And you get a second round pick anyway. You can make Harris alone is worth a second round pick, and you got that back. It's probably going to be a top 45 pick. You'll take that. Yes, you're taking on the $7.3 million in Lane's contract, but who cares? You had the room for Rome there. You got the money here. I like this move from Montreal a lot. Maybe Lane hits, maybe he doesn't. But either way, you got the pick. You have the room. It's almost nothing to lose here. We'll see what happens. Maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. If Lane is 3/4 of the player he once was, or once we thought he was going to be, that's a 30-goal scorer. He was compared to Ovechkin at one point. He was going to be the junior Ovechkin because of his shot, his release here. I love this move from Montreal.
And from a hockey perspective, it's a good lineup for him to play with, too. They're very offensive-minded, right? If you look at the Canadiens, they do have quite a bit of skill now. A lot of young skill, but they're starting to accumulate the skill defensively. They still have problems. They're going to play in some higher-scoring games, but he's going to have a chance. He's going to have a chance to score 25, 30-plus goals with this hockey team. And as you stated, too, the Canadiens guys, they're big time under the cap. They don't have any real star players on their team, right? They've got a bunch. They paid Cole Caulfield. I guess Suzuki's making a bit of money now. But for the most part, they don't have, like, big time. They have a bunch of young players, so they can afford it. It's a big-time hockey market. The patience will only be so thin right now with the Canadian fans, George, but they kind of at least will give them credit in a way. Look, they made the Stanley Cup, right? It wasn't that long ago. It was in the COVID year. They made the Stanley Cup. It was a fluke. Carey Price played amazing in the playoffs, whatever. They got lucky. They won some overtime games. They ended up in the Stanley Cup finals. They recognized after, we're not really, we've got a lot of work to do. But instead of being mediocre, you always talk about it with the Islanders. The Canadians actually told their fans, listen, it's going to be rough for like the next 5-7 years. Like they told point blank. Like they said, it's going to be rough for the next 5-7 years, but trust us on this. And the Canadian fans are kind of trusting him and liking what they're seeing. The Slafkovsky kid looks like the real deal, George, man. Actually, this guy, he's young, bro. And like, he's getting good. Like this guy, like, it looks like they hit it out of the park with this guy for real. They've done a great job drafting as well, George. They have a bunch of really like big-time NCAA studs in the pipeline now and stuff. The Canadians have done a great job drafting, but they're still probably 3 years away, I would say, from being contenders.
I would say that would be my maximum, 3 years. I think they can do it in 2. You get another good free agent class, more drafting. I think you can do it in 2. It's a rough division. We know that, but it's also a division that's getting older, right? Tampa's not going to be good for much longer. Boston's not going to be good for much longer. All right, so I kind of like what the young teams have done. The Detroits, the Ottawas, Montreal here. I think this is a steal for Canadians. You already mentioned Caulfield and Suzuki. They may not be superstars, but they're on the board of stardom. These are good players. You brought up Slafkovsky, who's probably maybe one of the top 5 players that no one talks about. because people don't realize how good a player he is. I like what Montreal has done. I love what you said, by the way, because I'm a big believer in that. Either you're competing for the cup or you have to suck. You can't be in the middle. It does you no good to be in the middle. You're not going to win the cup, and you don't get the top picks here. I like what Montreal has done here. I think they realized that they needed to take a couple of years, tough division, get rid of the Pasternak, the Marchands. Stamkos is already gone. You need Kucherov to calm down there as well. I like what they've done. I like the course they're taking.
And one last thing, too, with Patrick Laine, I think Martin St. Louis is a perfect coach for him as well. Right? Like Martin St. Louis played in the league. He understands. That's the one thing. I'm not saying he's perfect, but I haven't heard one player not really like him, to be honest. Like players like Martin St. Louis, right? They like him. They like the system. They like him. They like his attitude, right?
Plus, what are you going to say? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about? Man's a Hall of Famer. Well, you can't, he has that instant respect because he played the game. He knows everything you're going through. I always find it hard, or I shouldn't say hard, but when a star player becomes a coach, you always wonder, can he really be a coach? Because everything probably came a little easier to him. A lot of natural gifts. Same thing with Patrick Roy with the Islanders. A lot of natural gifts. But he does seem to be able to, I guess, relate to other players today. Which I think is a hell of a gift for someone like Martin St. Louis, because I didn't know if it was going to work. Like, you take someone like him, especially who didn't have a whole lot of coaching experience before they brought him on. But yes, I think he's the right guy for the job as well.
It's a good point by Kurtz. There's been a long history of great players who just could not coach or manage due to sheer frustration. We're going back a ways, but Maurice Richard, one of the all-time greats with the Montreal Canadiens, he coached, and he lasted 3 weeks. He couldn't deal with it.
Hello everybody from Arlo White in the Live Broadcast Studio, and welcome to highlights of another excellent day's golf on Super Saturday in Greenbrier. Now, Live Golf history was made by this man, the high flyers Brendan Steele. This is his second shot at the par 5 17th. In it goes, the first albatross in league history, and it's Brendan Steele who is all smiles. Cam Smith teed off at 18 today. He made a par there, then proceeded to card a 27 over the front 9 holes to briefly take the lead. This is his third at 12. An eagle for Cam there, but he was overall level par through his last 8 holes and his 3 off the lead. Brooks Koepka is seeking a 5th Live Golf title. No other man has more than 3. A pair of 64s for Brooks. He's 12 under par. That was his birdie putt at 18. But today was all about Jon Rahm, who is hunting a second straight win in the Live Golf League after his first victory at the JCB in the UK, and he's also hunting down Wako Niemann for the overall title of Live Golf League champion for 2024. A remarkable round of 62 today for Jon Rahm. That was his second into 17. This is his tee shot at 18. And you wouldn't bet against Jon Rahm going back-to-back and taking a lead into the final regular season event in Chicago in 3 weeks' time, seeking a first prize of $18 million. And he rounded things off superbly with a birdie putt at the first, an 8 under par 62 today. Jon Rahm will take a 2-stroke lead into Championship Sunday. Ripper lead the team comp by 1.
Level 2 continues. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Other big news in the NHL today. Well, not really news today, but word out of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, beat writer, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, wrote a story basically saying that they keep telling you not to worry, but that it's actually getting realer right now, that they're not close to a deal. Like the whole thing that, oh, don't worry, he's going to sign a deal there. He hasn't signed. He has serious concerns about the future of the organization. He's been there 20 years, guys, right? He's been there like more like half of his adult life. So essentially moving on 20 years now. So I think part of him wants to stay with the Penguins and it's not about chasing a cup, but at the same point in time, he's still playing elite hockey, George, right? He's 37. He's still playing like at the top, like he's still a top player in the NHL. So this guy looks like he's got another 5 years left in him type of thing. Like, you know what I mean? He might play to 42. Like he's in great shape. He doesn't drink alcohol at all, George. Like the guy's like really in good shape. Maybe that's excessive 5 years, but does he want to just ride it out and be a Pittsburgh Penguin forever? But I got to tell you, bro, that you want to talk about a franchise spinning its wheels right now. What the hell is the Penguins plan, George? They don't seem to have one.
They seem to throw a lot of mud against the wall and see if it'll stick, if it'll work, right? Because they, if you want to compare it to the Islanders, right? The Pittsburgh and Islanders pretty much, they finish around the same point in the standings, yet Pittsburgh has players that we all know, right? Crosby, Malkin, Letang, including secondary players. So I'm sure it's somewhat frustrating. The point you make about Crosby is immense because he had 94 points last year, the most points he's had since the 18-19 season. 42 goals last year, the most goals he's had since the 16-17 season. He ain't going nowhere. He can play almost as long as he wants, right? He is that kind of player. And we're not just talking, he's declining, he'll be a third liner. No, we're talking a top-line center in the NHL. If you're a fantasy player, he's still a first-round pick, which is just crazy in my mind that he hasn't lost that.
Very LeBron-like, actually. They're very similar in that it's like, wow, they're still at the top of the league like 20 years later. It's pretty crazy.
He's going to have a decision to make. What's more important? Stay in Pittsburgh where, you're a legend, you're a god, and you don't want to uproot anything and or do you want to go win? Because Pittsburgh's a salary cap hell, right? They've got a lot of top contracts here. Crosby, Letang, Malkin, guys making top money. I don't see this changing. It's going to take a couple of years. I thought when they brought in a new GM last year, Gabe, I thought they brought him in to be the bad guy. Be the bad guy.
To move on. Yeah.
Right? Bring Dubas in and clean house. That's what I thought. But he said he tried to win. Okay, fine. You're not as good as the Rangers. You're not as good as Carolina in that division. More or less before we get to the other division, where you got, Tampa, Florida.
And who's the guy that the Canucks wanted to sign? He just signed in Tampa. Who's the guy that they traded to the Canes? It slips my mind now. From Pittsburgh.
Gensel?
Yeah, Gensel. Jake Gensel. Yeah. He's another one. Crosby didn't want, he told, he didn't want them to lose Jake Gensel. He didn't understand. Why don't you just pay him? What are we doing? That's what really upset him as well. We're getting worse. We're not getting better. That was the way he looked at it. I don't know. We'll see if they have a plan, but we're 50 days away from the season right now. Word is they're not close to a contract, which means you're going to be going into the last year here. I think the one savior, and I tweeted this earlier, George, for them might be the fact that he's got Team Canada to play for, George. It's a big deal. These gold medals at Olympics and stuff are big. It's like Carey Price. Yeah, I didn't win a Stanley Cup. I won 2 gold medals with Team Canada. How's that? You know what I'm saying? King Henrik, same thing. Didn't win a Stanley Cup. He was never happier than when he won that medal with Sweden, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's big. It's big. So maybe he can say to himself, all right, I've had a hell of a career. I have a chance at another gold medal and glory here with Team Canada. That'll be my winning hockey, and I'll stay with the Penguins. I think that might be a saving grace for them, maybe.
Let me say this, all right, on a different scenario here. Nothing changed in the contract negotiations. Pittsburgh, not in playoff contention this year. Deadline. Do they risk losing him for nothing in the offseason, or do they move him at the deadline?
And another thing, George, Four Nations Cup coming up this year.
Yes, that's a big thing, too.
He's with these guys, and then it just clicks. You know what? I'm not going back to Pittsburgh. I want to play with some of these guys. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's going to leave. I think he's leaving.
I'm going with Nate McKinnon. I'm going with Nate McKinnon in Colorado. That's my guess. That's the top of my list. It's far away. It's not a crazy media hub. He's really close with Nate McKinnon. They're a very good team. But if Crosby's available, bro, who isn't going to want this guy?
Hello everybody from Arlo White in the Live Broadcast Studio, and welcome to highlights of another excellent day's golf on Super Saturday in Greenbrier. Now, Live Golf history was made by this man, the high flyers Brendan Steele. This is his second shot at the par 5 17th. In it goes, the first albatross in league history, and it's Brendan Steele who is all smiles. Cam Smith teed off at 18 today. He made a par there, then proceeded to card a 27 over the front 9 holes to briefly take the lead. This was his third at 12, an eagle for Cam there, but he was overall level par through his last 8 holes and his 3 off the lead. Brooks Koepka is seeking a 5th Live Golf title. No other man has more than 3. A pair of 64s for Brooks. He's 12 under par. That was his birdie putt at 18. But today was all about Jon Rahm, who is hunting a second straight win in the Live Golf League after his first victory at the JCB in the UK, and he's also hunting down Wako Niemann for the overall title of Live Golf League champion for 2024. A remarkable round of 62 today for Jon Rahm. That was his second into 17. This is his tee shot at 18. And you wouldn't bet against Jon Rahm going back-to-back and taking a lead into the final regular season event in Chicago in 3 weeks' time, seeking a first prize of $18 million. And he rounded things off superbly with a birdie putt at the first, an 8 under par 62 today. Jon Rahm will take a 2-stroke lead into Championship Sunday. Ripper lead the team comp by 1.
Didn't think we'd be talking a little hockey hot stove tonight, George, in August. But here we are talking about Sidney Crosby. And as we stated, there's going to be like, what would you say, a dozen teams, like if not more. But if there's a difference, Pittsburgh would have to trade him, as you stated. Let's say they're terrible. It's midseason, bro. You have the Four Nations Cup coming up. Suddenly he's going to be hanging around with all of his buddies and the top players. You know what I mean? Don't tell me there's not going to be recruiting going on. Right? Hey, Sid, come on, bro. You don't know Pittsburgh anything. Come join me in Nashville. Come join me in Colorado. Sign with the Vancouver Canucks, bro. He's going to be hearing it from like a lot of different people. I think, though, if you're the Penguins, there's no way in hell, because I know the Rangers would kill to have him.
No, he ain't going to Rangers.
Yeah. So let's just talk Western. Would you agree, Western Conference? And I think even if he would want to leave, he would be more comfortable in the West, so he wouldn't have to be around Pittsburgh and stuff.
Agree on both parts. I think during the break, you actually named the 2 teams, right? Colorado, Vancouver. I'll throw this team in there. What's the team out west that always figures a way to get a top player?
Oh,
right?
God,
they have
Vegas,
no cap room,
the
right?
Houston Astros of the NHL.
Vegas. Right. That's the team. They always find
that's
a
who
way.
They are. We look at them, George. They're like, you're like the Astros. You guys are cheaters.
They always find a way. So I think they'd be involved too. Well,
it's not his type of city. It's not his type of city.
Agreed.
He's the one guy that might be like, no, I'm not living in Vegas. He likes to golf,
if I was placing the favorite, I think it's Colorado. I think Colorado would be the guy. We know he's close to McKinnon.
But think about Vancouver, George. Vancouver are good, up-and-coming team, a lot of talent. Everybody loves Rick Tocchet. You got Jim Rutherford as the GM. You got Tocchet, solid organization. Crosby's tight with those guys. He gets along with them.
Yeah.
He scored the winning goal in Vancouver for Team Canada. There's some synergy there, right? There's a little bit of synergy, at least, I think, with the Canucks.
No, I like it. The Canucks probably my number 2. I don't know what the salary cap situation. I also don't know what would these teams have to give up for him. I'm assuming it wouldn't. You mentioned Toronto.
The Leaf fans are willing to do it. They're like right away today. Leaf fan blew up. Like they were like, just trade Mitch Marner now. Mitch Marner, and that's crazy. You're sending like a 25-year-old. How old's Marner? 26. He's not that old. Like might be 27 now. How old is Mitch Marner? Let me confirm this. Mitch Marner is 27.
Listen, if that was on a deal, I would do that in a heartbeat. if I'm Pittsburgh.
Yeah, if
I'd
you're
want
Pittsburgh, you've got to think about it. Yeah. But you could even get more. You could say, listen, it's Sidney Crosby. You're the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is like the ultimate signing for you.
They just made
you
it.
Throw in Tavares last year, the contract.
Huh? You just
doing it for them.
Right,
last year, the contract. So you'll eat up. You don't have all this money on your thing.
How'd that work out for you, Toronto? How did Tavares work out for you? Not angry at all. Actually, I'm not angry. I had no problem with Tavares. I had a problem with Tavares when he told the Islanders and Garth Snow, "Don't trade me. I don't want to trade." I had a problem with that. Other than that, I have no problem with the
you can't have it both ways. You're right, George. Don't stay and then leave, right? Or just say, listen, I'm leaving, so just trade me. Yeah,
the only thing that bothered me. I don't have a problem with any player wanting to go home because I might want to do the same damn thing. And people forget, by the way, the Islanders didn't offer the most money. The San Jose Sharks offered the most money. So they're the ones who really got spurned out of this, not the Islanders.
No, he wanted to be a Toronto Maple Leaf.
And that's fine.
Point blank. Yeah, he wanted to be a Leaf.
Maybe I want to play for the Yankees. Maybe I want to play for the Islanders. Yeah. I understand that. I understand that completely. I just didn't like, even though Snow should have known better, it doesn't matter. You know, he said, please don't trade me. It doesn't matter. If there's no little signature on the contract, he has to go. It definitely set the Islanders back. You missed a golden opportunity to get something there for him.
Last thing I'll say, though, as a betting man, my bet is that Crosby stays with Pittsburgh. I'm just throwing it out there that it's not a done deal. And
I think
this is going eventually this is going to have to, guys, like we said, he has 1 year left on his contract. So this isn't just like us making it up. They're going to have a decision has to be made by everybody now.
I don't think he gets traded. I don't think he's going to get. It's fun to talk about. I don't think he gets traded, but I think next year, already what you said, he's going to get recruited by these other players. He's going to realize, oh, this team's not good. We're not going to win next couple of years. What am I? Do I really want to stay here? And that's what I think is going to push him. I think Pittsburgh will offer him almost anything he wants to stay, but I think his competitive desire is going to be to win another cup or cups, and I think that's going to push him out. That'd be, like I said, educated guess, not traded, but then he'll leave in free agency next July.
And that was the last thing about. We'll move on from hockey, but the last thing about that. There was a little bit of concern about Austin Matthews. Well, Austin Matthews won out of Toronto, right? Because they weren't winning. So they made him the captain, speaking of Tavares. Austin Matthews is now the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, which I don't really get, to be honest. He's not a captain type.
I agree.
It's an act of desperation, and it's an act of, you know what? You're the face of our franchise through and through, point blank.
Mike Johnston on NHL tonight was trying to sell it as, well, this is what they're doing to change the culture of the team. They got rid of the coach, got rid of the GM. Now you get rid of the captain. Okay. I mean, it's true. It's what you've done here. I don't know if that changes anything. You still didn't get rid of all the players. You didn't trade Marner, which we all thought you might want to do here, or Nylander, or Matthews, or whatever. It's the same players. I know you added the Tanev, the good defenseman there, so maybe that'll help here. But I agree with you. I also, when I think Austin Matthews, I don't think captain. I just don't. And don't you find it kind of weird? Why didn't you wait till next year when Tavares is gone? Instead, you just, Tavares, give me that C. Give me that C. And you get it. I don't know. It just seems like, once again, haphazard, and you're hoping this changes the culture. I don't see how.
So the NHL, 50 days away, guys. It's a great time of the year right now. And in fact, there's two great times of the year in the sports year. The springtime is great, George, with the playoffs, right? Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, March Madness, and it's the Kentucky Derby. That first the Saturday in May is cool, and that's great. But I've always been a big fan of the late September scene when the worlds start colliding. Right, you got playoff baseball, NFL football, college football, NHL hockey. It's like the sports equinox that happens, once in a while. When every league is in action at once, it's just a great time, and that time is around the corner right now.
My favorite sports weekend of the year is probably the divisional football playoffs, right? And then the NFL, where all the best teams are playing here. And we have football Saturday. It's all weekend, Saturday and Sunday. My favorite time of the year is October. You already said it, right? The NHL starts. We get the baseball playoffs and footballs in full gear. All right, that's like heaven for me. And it's not even too cold here yet, so I'm not freezing when I go outside either. But the October is just great. Everything collides. It's the end of summer, but it's like I said, for me, it's sports heaven. And there's always a game on, whether it be a baseball player game, a hockey game, football, So I'm going to go October for my favorite sports month of the year.
Quick update right now. Still scoreless at Dodger Stadium. 0-0 in the seventh inning. There's 2 outs right now, top of the seventh inning. The San Francisco Giants have a 5-1 lead on the White Sox at the top of the eighth. San Diego, 5-2 still over Minnesota.
I need a run.
I got the under.
Anybody?
Can this just end this way? Can this just end this way?
I had
This would be one of those miracles.
That.
This would be a miracle, like if it stayed under, because it was they were at 7 runs after the third inning.
They need 6 more outs. And we're going to the bottom of the 8th. They only need 6 more outs.
We're getting there.
I don't know if Minnesota's scoring. They're going to get Suarez, right? He's damn good. So need San Diego to score. I probably shouldn't complain. Like I said, it's been a good late slate, so shouldn't complain here. But yeah, I'm on the over.
3-0 for the Athletics still. Bottom of the 7th inning, so that game really hasn't gone anywhere, George. Still 3-0 there. And still scoreless, as we discussed here in Los Angeles. So on the other side, we'll get into some NFL football. I was looking at the point spreads and the week 1, but we'll jump back in. Get Kurtz's thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys over the weekend. I took them plus the points in Las Vegas on Saturday night. It was a pretty big ticket, actually, in Dallas, in Vegas. The first time the Cowboys had ever been in Vegas. So even though it was a preseason game, tickets were going for like $500. The good tickets for a preseason game, $500.
Hello everybody from Arlo White in the Live Broadcast Studio, and welcome to highlights of another excellent day's golf on Super Saturday in Greenbrier. Now, Live Golf history was made by this man, the high flyers Brendan Steele. This is his second shot at the par 5 17th. In it goes, the first albatross in league history, and it's Brendan Steele who is all smiles. Cam Smith teed off at 18 today. He made a par there, then proceeded to card a 27 over the front 9 holes to briefly take the lead. This is his third at 12. An eagle for Cam there, but he was overall level par through his last 8 holes and his 3 off the lead. Brooks Koepka is seeking a 5th Live Golf title. No other man has more than 3. A pair of 64s for Brooks. He's 12 under par. That was his birdie putt at 18. But today was all about Jon Rahm, who is hunting a second straight win in the Live Golf League after his first victory at the JCB in the UK, and he's also hunting down Wako Niemann for the overall title of Live Golf League champion for 2024. A remarkable round of 62 today for Jon Rahm. That was his second into 17. This is his tee shot at 18. And you wouldn't bet against Jon Rahm going back-to-back and taking a lead into the final regular season event in Chicago in 3 weeks' time, seeking a first prize of $18 million. And he rounded things off superbly with a birdie putt at the first, an 8 under par 62 today. Jon Rahm will take a 2-stroke lead into Championship Sunday. Ripper lead the team comp by 1.
This is SportsRage. I'm Gabriel Morency. All right, we were talking about Sidney Crosby's future. Let's talk about Dak Prescott's future right now. And Trey Lance has been playing quite a bit for the Dallas Cowboys in the preseason, and they want to get a feel for him. What do you think, George, from watching Trey Lance? Because you know Jerry would like nothing better to know that, you know what, I can fall back on this kid next year if I have to be the starting quarterback. But I don't get starting quarterback vibes from Trey Lance.
Even if you thought that, by the way, then shouldn't you have signed CeeDee Lamb so he might have someone to throw to and you know if he has a hookup with him, no, I don't see it either. Trey Lance has shown some good things, right? He's got athletic ability. We know that.
And he's worked with absolutely nobody. They're putting him in a pretty tough spot.
Right. The Cowboys wide receiver room is it's kind of bland. Even with Lamb, it's just Lamb. And then, okay, you got Brandon Cooks and prayers. There's really not much after that to see what happens. Once again, the Cowboys do not have a quarterback signed after this year. Trey Lance is a free agent too, so it's Cooper Rush. So everyone's, I guess, working for a job here. I don't know if the Cowboys quarterback next year is on the roster. Maybe they're going to sign someone in free agency. Maybe they're going to trade up and get one in the draft because I don't think they're going to implode this year where they're going to get, be a 5-12 team and be a top 5 pick. I don't see that. I think they'll pick around 14, 15, 16. So, or maybe even higher than that. So, listen, I don't know what Jerry's doing. But you and I seem to be both agree that Dak probably not coming back to Dallas because I got news for you. I think even if the Cowboys offered the contract right now, why would he sign it, Gabe? He can test the market next year. He'll be the number 1 quarterback, a guy who never becomes a free agent, right? And he'll be a complete free agent. Anyone could sign for any reason. He holds all the leverage in the book. Maybe he doesn't want to play for Jerry Jones on the Cowboys anymore.
That's a very good point. And what will the starting quarterback rate be next year? $65 million?
At least.
Like them waiting and waiting and waiting have just cost themselves more. That's what's crazy as well. Like his indecision. But you and I have always agreed on this going back that Jerry seems ready to sort of throw him under the bus. Right? I don't think Jones wants to re-sign him. And like you said, I'm not sure Dak even wants to re-sign. And guys, just for the record, too, Dak on one of the first media sessions of the year this year brought up, I've already thought about playing for another team. It's too bad that it's come to this, but that's football, right? He starts saying, hey, even Joe Montana played for other teams, right? So it was like, wow, this is clearly on his mind right now. I've always got the feeling, too, I don't know, maybe something crazy happens and they do an offseason trade, Tua for Dak or Bryce Young. I don't know, like I was thinking out loud. I've also, I threw it out there before, too, that I sort of got a weird feeling that Jerry Jones would like to have Shedeur Sanders. And would he like to have Dion and Shedeur Sanders? Is it a package deal? Just throwing it out there.
You're not the first person to bring this up, but boy, with that, that's a George Steinbrenner move, right? You're talking about getting all the back pages and that's all everyone's going to talk about then.
That's going all in. That's going out with a bang. I'm not saying it would work, but that's the definition of I'm getting old and let's go all in and crazy on this, right?
Man, Dion, I don't know if Dion's ready for the NFL as far as a coaching job. This what he's pulling with the media now, I think they'd eat him. I think they would destroy him. I think he'd be fighting with them all the time. It'd be a war. It'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. But I don't know if that's going to work here. Remember, Jones is also 84. If he's telling the truth, I want to win a Super Bowl, you're not going to be around much longer, buddy. You really want to start with a rookie quarterback again? By the time he's good, what's left of this team? So listen, Jones, he's mismanaged his team over and over again. We know that. Something that I know you've brought up over and over. The Cowboys spend no money. People think that they're one of the top spending teams. They're actually
especially on offense, too. Yeah, it's bizarre.
They don't spend cash. They're a bottom 3 team in cash spending over the last 3 years. Think about that. The Dallas Cowboys, bottom 3 as far as spending.
Yeah, they boast about how rich they are all the time and how much money they make and how much they're worth.
Maybe they're not. Maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe Jerry Jones doesn't have the money to sign Dak, to sign CD, and to sign Parsons, which is going to be what, $200 million guaranteed? Maybe I find that hard to believe, but maybe. And I know some Dallas sports writers, because everyone's trying to figure out what the problem is. Some Dallas sports writers are throwing out there that maybe Jones knows something about the CBA that's going to be reopened because of the extra game. He knows something's going to be thrown in there that he's being wary of. But this is, they admit, we're just throwing stuff against the wall. Because even with Dallas sports writers who follow this every day, they don't know why CeeDee Lamb's not signed. Why is Dak going here? We're all just educated guessing.
The Dak stuff I could sort of get a bit, but the CeeDee Lamb stuff I don't get. He's young. He's one of the best wide receivers in the game. No matter who your quarterback is, you need him. So it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Like, it's about him. Like, look at the Vikings. The Vikings said they had just pay Jefferson and we'll worry about the quarterback after. But just give him his money, right? And so we don't have to worry about that. But like you said, man, Dallas.
The price keeps going higher. He doesn't get lower.
That's what I don't get.
I think Lamb and Dak are different. I think Lamb is sort of Jones's history. Jones with the Cowboys, when it comes to signing players, he always waits till the last minute. It's always to his detriment because the price keeps going up.
Because he thinks his brand is so big, too. He almost thinks that people are lucky to be playing for the Cowboys or something, which is outdated.
They'll come down to his price, you know?
Yeah. And his dream to be a Dallas Cowboy. It's like, no, it isn't, bro. He'll be just happy on the Niners.
He still wants his money. He don't even wants his dream. He still wants his money. But Jones' history is he waits forever, but he never loses his guy. So I think Lamb will be a Cowboy. But for some reason, I don't think Dak fits into that. I think Dak is in a separate category. I think he may have already said maybe Jones is a little tired that we've gone as far as I can with Dak. I'm not paying him, $65 million a year when we can't win a divisional game. I still can't get to the championship game. And I'm tired of being blamed for it that we haven't been to a championship game since 1995, even though it is Jerry's fault more than anybody else.
No, that's the feeling I get as well. That you and I have talked about it. That, like, how come they haven't signed other players? And Jerry sort of, well, I think we already have enough. Like, it's almost like he wants Dak to go out and be the fall guy. And like you said, people don't realize they don't spend any money. Jerry Jones spends a lot of money on everything but the football team. He spends money to make money, but he realized, you know what? Until Cowboy fans starts to get mad and not go, George, it's one of those deals. Like, he's taking advantage of them. You know what I'm saying? You guys love the Cowboy brand so much, you're going to show up no matter what. And you are showing up no matter what. So I'm just going to know the status quo. I'm not saying he doesn't want to win, but there's a difference. Spend some money. Actually put an effort in. All right, George, this game just got broken open. Max Muncy, 2-run home run.
Max!
Good to have him back.
All right, now we're done. No more runs. I'm good.
3-0.
We're done.
Hello everybody from Arlo White in the Live Broadcast Studio, and welcome to highlights of another excellent day's golf on Super Saturday in Greenbrier. Now, Live Golf history was made by this man, the high flyers Brendan Steele. This is his second shot at the par 5 17th. In it goes, the first albatross in league history, and it's Brendan Steele who is all smiles. Cam Smith teed off at 18 today. He made a par there, then proceeded to card a 27 over the front 9 holes to briefly take the lead. This is his third at 12. An eagle for Cam there, but he was overall level par through his last 8 holes and his 3 off the lead. Brooks Koepka is seeking a 5th Live Golf title. No other man has more than 3. A pair of 64s for Brooks. He's 12 under par. That was his birdie putt at 18. But today was all about Jon Rahm, who is hunting a second straight win in the Live Golf League after his first victory at the JCB in the UK, and he's also hunting down Wako Niemann for the overall title of Live Golf League champion for 2024. A remarkable round of 62 today for Jon Rahm. That was his second into 17. This is his tee shot at 18. And you wouldn't bet against Jon Rahm going back-to-back and taking a lead into the final regular season event in Chicago in 3 weeks' time, seeking a first prize of $18 million. And he rounded things off superbly with a birdie putt at the first. An 8 under par 62 today. Jon Rahm will take a 2-stroke lead into Championship Sunday. Ripper lead the team comp by 1.
With the NFL preseason rolling along so far, I tell you what, there's a lot of teams that haven't played anybody, and then they're gonna be struggling week 1. Well, you know what? We didn't play much, and sometimes you see teams, it takes them like 2-3 weeks of the regular season to get it going. And I found that there's a lot of teams. I brought it up earlier, George, like the Packers. They played their players, even Jordan Love. It's like, all right, Jordan Love got a bunch of money, and he's out there playing, and he's getting loose for the season. And you look at Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are just sleepwalking through this thing, and they're playing each other. I'm leaning Green Bay on that Friday nighter, to be honest with you. And I said it earlier. I like Philadelphia to win the division over your Dallas Cowboys, but I think Philadelphia is going to lose that game to the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. But will the Dallas Cowboys win week one? I was almost hoping, George, that you guys had your standard home game against the New York Giants to start the season. you always win that, or even in New York. And normally, Cowboys-Giants start the year. Cowboys always win, but not this year. The Cowboys have a tricky season opener, George, on the road, 4:25 Eastern time, Sunday late game. In Seatown against the Cleveland Browns. Browns are 2-point favorites right now. 43.5 is the total.
Well, for the purposes, I'm going to assume CeeDee Lamb has signed. All right, if he's not signed, by the way, then it's Cleveland all day here. I think it's a close game. All right, I don't think Deshaun Watson's anywhere near the player he used to be. There'll be no Nick Chubb. I don't think this will be a high scoring game. Likely right around where the number is there, 43. I think it's probably right. I'm going to go with the Cowboys because I think the Cowboys will get to Watson and annoy him enough. I think he'll make a mistake there. But I think once again, it's a field goal game. 20-17, 21-17, 24-20, somewhere around there. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys. But I like Cleveland. And if I think this is a game, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes here. But CeeDee Lamb needs to be there and needs to be CeeDee Lamb. If I hear that he's not going to play a full complement of snaps because he didn't sign till late, then I'll go with Cleveland.
The Kansas City Chiefs were 3-point favorites against Baltimore. Now it's 2.5, George. Total's 46.5 in that game. Feels light to me. It's not a ton of points. He's got to get 47 points to hit the over here. And I'm surprised there's as much love for Baltimore as there has been. You really want to get in front of Kansas City in their banner night? I
like Baltimore. I'm on Baltimore here. I kind of
You're on
like
Baltimore in this game?
And once again, opening night, that could be a bad thing, right? Because you're celebrating.
They lost to Detroit last year.
They should have beat Detroit last year. All right, if not for that, Kadarius Toney had the ball go right through his hands, right, for a pick six. They should have lost that. They should have won that game. I won't go anything by that, but there's a lot going on with Kansas City within the Rashee Rice situation, right? Kelsey's not going to play a full complement because they're trying to rest him throughout the season here. I'm going to go Baltimore. Once again, I need to make sure Mark Andrews is healthy. He hasn't practiced since that car accident. They're saying it's a minor thing, no big deal, but I need Mark Andrews to be there and be healthy. But I'm going to take the points in Baltimore.
And it's pretty rare. We have a Friday nighter the following night after the Thursday night opener, the Green Bay-Philadelphia game in Brazil. Totals 48.5. The Eagles are 2-point favorites in that one, George.
Green Bay is a good team. Good team. I kind of like the Packers here as well. I'm going to need to still. I wonder if the Eagles are going to. I think you're right, by the way. I had them win the NFC East as well. But I think the Eagles are going to be a better team in the second half of the season. 2 new coordinators. I wonder if it takes them a little bit of time here to get things solid here and sort of forget what happened last year after they just got, emasculated after a 10-1 start. I'm with you. Give me the Packers.
The Buffalo Bills are 6.5-point favorites, hosting the Arizona Cardinals in week one. The total is 48. In that football game. Little bit of movement here, George, as the Saints have been 5-point favorites against the Panthers, and now it's 4.5. And speaking of which, actually, we were talking about the worst team in the league, guys, and the odds for the worst team in the league. There's been quite a bit of movement with this, actually, for worst regular season record. And let me get this up here. I see best regular season record final. Here we go. Worse. Suddenly, George, it used to be the Panthers were plus 400 and the Patriots were plus 400. They were both co-favorites to be the worst team in the NFL. Now the Patriots are plus 320. I guess because of the Judon deal. There's a lot of talk that Drake May actually is going to be starting quicker than people thought he would be as well. The Broncos are plus 600 now, and the Panthers are plus 700, George. I got to tell you. Plus 700 on the Panthers to be the worst team in the league is definitely worth a bet. That's a nice price right there.
I agree. You and I both think they're terrible, right? Neither team's going anywhere. I think the Patriots I like the Patriots to be the last winless team. Another fun little bet you can make here. The last team to win a game is what I should say. So I don't think they're winning a game anytime soon. I think the Patriots, the Patriots suck.
Hold on. We'll wrap up with George on the other side.